This is a Sony PS5 or PlayStation 5, and the HDMI port on this Sony PS5 need to be replaced. There you go. The board is out, and I'm going to replace this HDMI port. And yep, the HDMI port looks damaged and need to be replaced. On this side of the board, near the HDMI port, there are two small components right here. I'm gonna put some UV mask on it so these components won't fly away and gone while I'm working removing this or installing the HDMI port. Just put a tiny bit of UV mask. Let's cure the UV mask with, of course, UV light. Alright, looks good. Now let's flip to the other side of the board. And on this side of the board, near the HDMI port, there are 1, 2, 3, and 4 small components right here. I'm also gonna put some UV mask on it so the components won't fly away and missing while I'm working on the HDMI port. I'm not gonna put too much on this big components right here, but just enough to hold the components on the board. Alright, it looks good. I'm gonna use some of these motherboard standoffs to make it easier to remove the HDMI port. I'm gonna put one right here. Another one right here. Let's see if this motherboard standoff gives me enough space and enough clearance from the board to my desk so I can remove the HDMI port easily. And yep, that's enough space. Alright, let's remove the HDMI port. I'm gonna remove this plastic thingy. Put it aside. I'm gonna saturate this 1, 2, 3, 4 pads with a low melt solder. Let's flip the board. Gonna add some flux on this side of the board or the HDMI port. Flip the board again. There we go. There you go. The HDMI port just fell off. The HDMI port just fell off, and that's how you remove the HDMI port on the PS5. Let's flip the board. The small components are still there, which is good. I'm going to apply the heat from the bottom and then install or solder the new HDMI port from the top. So I need to create a space from this bottom right here, from the other side of the board. Let's do that. This is not necessary, but it makes the job a lot easier rather than dragging the board on the side of the table, because my hot air station, it's not close to me and it is pretty far, and I have to, I don't have enough length. So this is gonna be my solution. There we go. Much better. All the ports looks good. There you go. Let it cool down for a little bit. And you see right here, all the small components are still intact and not going anywhere. I've seen a lot of PS5 or PS4 HDMI port replacement where the person or the technician replaced the port, and in the process they also desoldered and removed these small components by mistake, and they have no idea where the component goes, and then it's gonna take a couple days to order the small components, and yeah, it's gonna be a lot of headache. So use a solder mask or UV mask to secure the small components in place. There you go, looks much cleaner. There you go. Looks pretty clean. Let's put everything back together and test the PS5. HDMI cable is plugged in and the power cable also plugged in. Let's test the PlayStation. The blue light, which is good. There you go. Video signal. PlayStation logo.